Hello, everyone, and welcome to Tony's Comic Spotlight. In this weekly episodic series, I spotlight some of the best comics put to print.
In today's episode, we take a look at the first appearance of Erica Slaughter by shining the spotlight on 2019's Something is Killing the Children, issue number 1.
If you're enjoying the content, please feel free to like and subscribe, and don't forget to ring the bell to be notified of our latest videos. Feel free to leave a comment as well. I hope you enjoy the videos. And now, on to our featured story. James and his friends Noah, Carl, and Tyler are over at James' house one night having a sleepover and playing Truth or Dare. James chooses Dare after Tyler asks him. Tyler asks him, "What's the most scared you've ever been?" The other kids are unimpressed, fearing they will have to hear another one of James's nightmares. James tells them about hearing a strange moan from the ravine one night. He says he turned the lights out in the TV room and looked out the window and saw a monster as big as a tree in the yard, walking towards the house, but stopped when the lights went out, sort of confused. He said he hid under the blankets on the couch, and when he checked an hour later, it was gone. The kids accuse him of making up the story to freak them out, but then James looks at Noah and says Truth or Dare. Next we see a police interrogation room. James is talking to a detective, telling him what happened. Apparently James' friends are now dead, and they are talking to James to find out what had happened. He swears he thought his monster wasn't real. The story was made up. When the detective asks what happened next, James says he heard them all screaming. 2 weeks later, a young girl sitting in a wagon sees Erica Slaughter walk out of a forest, mask on, covered in blood, brandishing 2 blades. Erica drops the blades and pulls out a water bottle from the backpack and sits in the wagon. The girl asks her, "Is it over?" Erica says yes, and the girl replies, "Good." At this point, Erica gets a call on her cell phone from the Order of St. George. The order tells her to go to Archer's Peak to investigate a possible monster. The girl lets Erica take a shower at her home, and then Erica boards a bus headed for Archer's Peak. James is back at school and is trying to deal with what had happened. The local bully berates him, and he tells the bully to shut the F up, landing him in the principal's office. The principal tries to talk to James and even says that James should have punched the bully. James refuses to take the day off and returns to class. Erica arrives at Archer's Peak via a bus. She talks to an elderly woman before disembarking. The elderly woman talks about the children that had gone missing and that someone needed to do something about it. Erica agrees and walks off the bus. She walks straight up to a bulletin board littered with missing children's pictures. The officer asks if she knew any of them, and she said, "You can say that," and then walks away. James is walking in the motel parking lot that his family is staying in at this time and talking to his father on his phone. James' father tells him he's going to be late, but he'll see him after he picks up his sister from soccer practice. James turns and looks at the woods for a moment, then he hears a voice from behind him. He turns to see Erica, who says, "Hey." After introducing herself and asking about him, Erica asks James what did he see that night. He says he already talked to the cops and he didn't see anything. He just heard them scream. Erica says she knows what he told the police. She says she doesn't want to hear what he said to the police. She wants to hear what he saw. James is hesitant and scared to say anything, but Erica promises James that whatever he says, she will believe him. So James tells her about finding Noah split in half and begging James to take him with him. James runs away and finds Carl's mutilated and possibly half-eaten body. He sees Tyler's body drop in front of him. Tyler tries to reach out to James. A gigantic monster picks up Tyler and pulls him apart. Erica thanks James for telling his story. Just at that moment, the phone rings, and it's the Order of St. George. Erica answers the phone and says to the Order that it's a Class E7 monster, and she has it handled. She tells James he has a monster in the woods, and she is going to kill it. James asks if he can help. To be continued. The Knights of St. George, otherwise known as the Order of St. George, is a society of hunters who specialize in hunting and killing tulpas. The Knights of St. George differ from most paramilitary groups, specializing in typical monster hunting as their specialty is the destruction of tulpas and ergogores, which are entities created in the mind, acting independently of and parallel to one's own consciousness. Essentially, the order begins down the dark parallel of fables that being monsters born out of the collective unconscious, where the turbulent streams of subconsciousness are rabid with fear, despair, hatred, and the like, giving manifest to a monstrous beast that embodies said fears. The origins of the group is unknown, other than the reason why they took the name of St. George, as that pertains to the moment George slayed his first monster, which was a dragon, and that these tulpas, which were born out of a child's fear and despair, would be the first monsters they confront, and the first that they would somehow manage to kill. They are also known by other paramilitary organizations like Federal Bureau of Control, with whom they are often at odds with, as the Bureau wishes to detain and study the tulpas they kill. More solitary supernatural hunters also know of them and often take to acquiring resources from their stocks in the hope they possess a tool that is used to kill a specific monster. In the old days, young people who survived an attack would be tested against the tulpa that traumatized them. They would face off in a shared dreamscape where they get a chance to tame the tulpa and lock it in their totem, an item usually a toy of great meaning to the hunter. Due to the survival rate being relatively low, the Order largely changed the initiation test, except for certain circumstances like Erica's slaughter. They would profile orphans and test them against random monsters, as opposed to the one that attacked them. If they passed the test, they received the Mark of St. George, a tattoo of a dragon with spears through it. They also receive a solid color bandana to wear in the chapter house. They are trained in the ways to kill monsters. Once they get their first kill, they receive a new bandana with teeth on it, making them a full-fledged monster hunter. Before they leave their teenage years, the initiates must pass one more test so that they can perform the rite of trepanation, which will allow the monster hunter to continue seeing the monsters into adulthood, since only children can see them. What do the House of Slaughter mask colors mean? Members of the House of Slaughter each have a role to play in keeping the world safe from supernatural threats. While there are other disciplines and sects of monster hunting, like those under the Maison du Boucher or the House of Butcher located in New Orleans, the House of Slaughter is divided into 6 different color-identified groups. These initiates undergo a ritual to ensure that they can see monsters into adulthood, and if they survive the house's trials, they then take Slaughter for a surname and are granted their teeth. These teeth give their bandana mask that signature monstrous look. But what exactly do all the colors mean? Black Mask, the solo hunters. Protagonists Erica and Aaron Slaughter belong to the Black Mask designation, a lonely and low-staffed part of the House of Slaughter. By nature, Black Mask are solo monster hunters. However, the members we meet are fiercely loyal to one another and act like a family unit. Guided by the protective and alcoholic Jessica Slaughter, they most often clash with the White Mask, who are the fundamental opposites. Black Mask are often as ruthless as they are resourceful. They are capable of dispatching threats on their own, even at the cost of their own health and safety. Arguably some of the most powerful members of the house, they don't need to rely on others to take down creatures like duplicitypes or obscuritypes. However, they also tend to have personalities that don't get along too well with the others, and their work is considered pretty thankless. Still, the Black Mask have been many readers' introductions to the brutal world of Something is Killing the Children, and fans love their relentless dedication to slaying all manner of monsters that go bump in the night. Scarlet Mask, Bookkeeping. House of Slaughter's second arc introduced a new Scarlet Mask protagonist, Edwin Slaughter. Considered the lifeblood of the house, the Scarlet Mask aren't actually monster hunters. While other members of the organization specialize in field work, these ruby-faced figures are the bookkeepers and administrative leaders of the operation. They are often mistaken for household servants because they keep order and serve meals. Primarily, Scarlet Mask are tasked with keeping track of the comings and goings of the other hunters while also facilitating their missions and making their lives easier. They tend to be less confrontational, more suited to roles as politicians, philosophers, and artists like Edwin. The Scarlet Mask also tend to know all the secrets of the house and use their cerebral specialties to their advantage. Silver Mask, Specialist Hunters. Only mentioned in passing, the Silver Mask are not nearly as plentiful as other mask colors within the House of Slaughter. Other branches of monster hunting organizations tend to have more silver masks, who are considered specialists trained to deal with the monsters of myth and folklore. However, the Chicago division of the Order of St. George only has 2 of these hunters in its employ, given that modern America has far fewer mythological beasts embedded in its cultural history. Silver Mask are hunters trained to deal with more traditional monsters like vampires and werewolves. They study the weaknesses and histories of these creatures, utilizing tools like wooden stakes, silver bullets, holy water, wolfsbane, and other weapons and resources. Basically, the Silver Mask are the Buffies of the House of Slaughter, though unlike the Chosen One, there can be as many as needed depending on the threats present. Azure Mask, Weapons and Tech. In ancient times, the Azure Mask served as the Order's blacksmiths, forging weaponry to fight monsters. This craftsmanship continued into the modern era, though it evolved with the introduction of digital technology. Currently, Azure Mask, like Gary Slaughter, not only maintain the weaponry of their fellow hunters, but they also lead the test of skill that proves someone is worthy of joining the Monster Slaying Society. Like Scarlet Mask, these members of the house are not active field agents. In fact, with their technical prowess additionally translated to computer smarts, they are extremely secretive and skilled in hacking. Azure Mask use their skills to help keep digital media under control for the house, making news stories disappear, helping hunters evade detection on security footage, and more. Emerald Mask, Dragon Hunters. The House of Slaughter is one branch of the Order of St. George, so named after the myth of St. George and the dragon. This story involves the titular Christian knight slaying a mythic beast, extorting villagers for tributes of treasure, livestock, and eventually human lives. Emerald Mask maintained that tradition as hunters specialized only in seeking and destroying dragons. They are considered the most lethal hunters of all the colors. While the Order's symbol is a dragon pierced with several lances, dragons aren't the primary monsters in either Something is Killing Children or House of Slaughter. Only in the most recent issues did the Scarlet Mask, Edwin Slaughter, encounter what he claimed to be a dragon, though his superiors refused to believe him. What is known about dragons in this world is that they are primordial forces of malice, death, and destruction. Even the most skilled hunters will have trouble withstanding their strength without the expertise of an Emerald Mask. White Mask, Pack Hunters. White Mask, though skilled and plentiful, have only been shown in the context of how they bully and antagonize other members of the Order, namely the Lone Black Mask. Their strength numbers, as White Masks are skilled in pack tactics and group efforts to defeat the biggest monsters. Many hands make light work, however it is suspected that alone White Mask cannot handle threats as well as the other groups in the house. The White Mask are currently led by the cold and calculating Cecilia Slaughter. She has previously led her squad into battle when the children of Archer's Peak were disappearing and Erica Slaughter had trouble containing the threat. Working together, they tend to form cliques and hunt for prey socially as well as in the field. Jace Bouchier, Aaron Slaughter's first romance, joined the White Mask when recruited from Maison de Boucher and initiated into the House of Slaughter. Erica Slaughter is a young hunter that is dedicated to destroying tulpas, imaginative monsters that manifest through fear and terror of the mind and prey on young children. She is a member of a secret order known as the Order of St. George. Although despite the formality of the order, Erica herself is more of a loner and a bit of a rebel. Erica's exact origins are not quite clear, but what is known is that her family was killed by a tulpa that only she could see while the others could not. She was later adopted by the Knights of St. George and became one of their fiercest and most capable agents. The reason she was able to see these unforeseen malevolent forces is due to a strange mark along her temple. While its full nature is uncertain, it has been obliquely implied that this mark grants her the ability to see these monsters. This mark also gave her eyes an odd, unnatural color, a bright forest green to be exact, something that is shared with other members of House of Slaughter, and a stuffed animal totem that houses a demonic spirit along with the stylistic death mask and crest tattoo. Despite her detached nature, she has a short fuse and can be quite agitated, especially towards her superiors when she is not given proper or full information about an upcoming task, but is a compassionate humanitarian at heart, although one that does not wish to have close ties with anyone. Erica herself is somewhat emotionally distant, but not entirely disconnected. Due to experience, she is fully aware that she is not on a rescue mission, for the children have been gone missing, will be found dead, and disemboweled regardless. She will with small corpses to finish the task at hand, and so it is a job that requires a certain level of detachment. Otherwise, one would more than likely shatter at the sight of a mutilated child. I hope you enjoyed this look into Something is Killing the Children, issue number 1. If you've watched any of my videos before, you've heard me say that Something That's Killing the Children is one of my top books that I look forward to reading every month. So doing this spotlight was extra special for me. If you're enjoying the content, please like and subscribe, and ring the bell for future notifications as well. Coming up next week, we're going to take a look at the first appearance of Jack Russell, the Werewolf by Night, in Marvel Spotlight issue number 2. So that should be pretty fun. So until then, take it easy, be safe, and God bless. See ya.